Hello everybody, hope you're all doing great. This is your tax consultant Nandakumar KV at aotax.com. Today we are going to learn all about ITIN and the Form W7. Foremost, let's understand who needs an ITIN. We all know that ITIN stands for Individual Taxpayer Identification Number. It is issued by the IRS. It's a 9-digit number starting with 9 and the fourth digits are 7, 8 or 9. And the way an ITIN number looks is something like this: 987781234. And it is issued to those individuals who do not qualify for an SSN but have a requirement to file US tax return or claim any US tax benefit. It is usually applied for the non-working spouse or kids or parents or in-laws or other relatives. Because we serve most of the Indian community in the US, we see that people who come on H1 or L1 or EAD and whose dependents, say the non-working spouse or kids or parents or in-laws or other relatives who do not qualify for SSN, they are on H4 L2 visa, and those people need an ITIN in case the taxpayer chooses to file a joint tax return with such non-resident spouse or claim kids or parents or other relatives on his tax return as dependents, meaning qualifying child or qualifying relative. Now, when we look at the ITIN application process, we need to divide the ITIN application process into two categories. One, we need to check if the ITIN applicant is in the United States. Two, is the ITIN applicant outside the United States. Now, case 1, let's understand what if the ITIN applicant, let's say the kids or parents or spouse, are in the United States. How do we apply for an ITIN in such case? This is how. Option 1. Go in person with the documents to the IRS Taxpayer Assistance Center. TAC stands for Taxpayer Assistance Center. So what it says is, fill the Form W7. Step 1. Fill the Form W7 for each applicant. Attach the federal tax return, Form 1040 or 1040NR. If you are a US citizen or resident, you will be filing Form 1040. If you are a non-resident, you will be filing Form 1040NR. And you got to attach your wage statement, that is Form W2, and carry original passports of each ITIN applicant to the IRS Taxpayer Assistance Center. And this is usually returned post the ITIN evaluation process. So once you submit your W7, your federal tax return, your wage statement and the original passports of the ITIN applicant, the Taxpayer Assistance Center will evaluate them, review them, and they will return to you immediately. This is option 1, and you will receive your ITIN in 6 to 8 weeks from the date of your application. Now, option 2. What if you do not wish to go in person or you choose to mail the documents to the IRS? What happens? Simple. Fill the Form W7 for each applicant. So if you're filling for 3 people, if you're applying for your spouse and for your 2 kids, you need to fill 3 ITIN application forms. Then attach federal tax return, that is Form 1040 or 1040NR, attach the wage statement, and attach original passports of each ITIN applicant. And usually, when you mail these documents to the IRS ITIN operations sector, that's in Austin and Texas, these passports are written to you in 8 to 12 weeks. So they will verify the passports, they will evaluate your W7 forms, and once everything is fine, you will get your ITIN in 6 to 8 weeks from the date of your application. So we have seen that option 1 is you go in person with the documents, that is the original passport, to the IRS Taxpayer Assistance Center. Okay, so what I said is, so we have seen that there are 2 options to apply for an ITIN when the ITIN applicant is in the US. 1. Go in person with the original passport to the IRS Taxpayer Assistance Center, or mail the original passports to the IRS ITIN Operations Wing. Now, what if the ITIN applicants are outside the United States? How do we apply for an ITIN in that case? Let's understand. Option 1. Mail the original passport to the IRS. Just like what we learned before. Attach the W7, fill the form W7, attach the federal tax return, attach the wage statement, attach the original passports, and then send to the IRS. And you will get your original passports in 8 to 12 weeks, and you will have your ITIN in 6 to 8 weeks from the date you applied. Next, mail the certified copies of passport to the IRS. In case you do not wish to send the original passport of your ITIN applicants to the IRS, you can get the passport of the ITIN applicants certified by the issuing agency. It could be the passport office or the US Embassy. Now, in such case, you should mail Form W7 duly filled in by each applicant, attach the federal tax return, Form 1040 or 1040 NR, whatever is applicable to you, attach your wage income statement, that is your Form W2, and attach the certified copies of passport of each ITIN applicant. These passports must be duly certified by the issuing agency, and then mail this to the IRS office in Austin, Texas. And once you mail them, you will get your ITIN in 6 to 8 weeks of time. Then the third option is mail the certificate of accuracy instead of original passport or the certified copies of passport. Now, certificate of accuracy is a certificate issued by the certifying acceptance agent who verifies all your passports, your identity documents, your W7, and confirms that yes, you can claim this ITIN applicant on your tax return and you can apply for an ITIN. In other words, he is a representative of IRS who is evaluating or assessing these documents on behalf of the IRS, and after his evaluation he is giving a certificate of accuracy that you are the ITIN applicant is a lawful permanent resident of that particular country, foreign country, let's say India, and yes, he is qualified to apply for an ITIN, and that he has thoroughly checked all the relevant identity documents, example passport. Now, in such case, you should mail the below documents to the IRS ITIN Operations Wing. Same. 1. Form W7. Attach the certificate of accuracy issued by the certifying acceptance agent, then attach the federal tax return, attach the wage statement, and attach the copies of passport. Once you compile these 5 documents, mail them to the IRS Austin, Texas address, and you will have your ITIN in 6 to 8 weeks from the date of your application. Now, what an ITIN cannot do? We know what an SSN can do, but let's understand what an ITIN cannot do. ITIN does not make you a green card holder or a US citizen. That's the first point. It does not change your immigration status. Of course, Trump will never agree. Even the IRS would not. Then, you cannot use the ITIN as an identification proof. Then, you do not get the right to work in the United States. Then, you do not qualify for the Social Security benefits either. The only purpose of ITIN is to help you file your federal tax return. That's it. Then, what if you had no passport when you're applying for your ITIN application? In such case, you can use 2 of the following. 1 is a USCIS photo identification, that is United States Citizenship and Immigration Services photo identification, or a visa issued by the US Department of State, or a civil birth certificate, or a copy of original document certified by the issuing agency. This never happens, but just in case you don't have the passport for your ITIN applicant, you can choose to attach any two of the documents mentioned here. Now, once you get your ITIN after 6 to 8 weeks from the date you apply, do you think are these ITINs forever? No, even ITINs must be renewed. Now, what it says is, if your ITINs were not used for at least once in the last 3 tax years, then they expire as on December 31st of that particular tax year, and they must be renewed. I repeat, if the ITINs were not used for at least once in the last 3 tax years, then they expire as on December 31st of that particular tax year. Then ITINs with middle digits 78 and 79 have already expired on December 31st, 2016 and must be renewed. And ITINs with middle digits 70, 71, 72 and 80 will expire as on December 31st, 2017, and they also must be renewed. And the renewal of an ITIN application is also same as that of an original application. The only thing, you will have to check the boxes in the ITIN application form and mention the previous ITIN number too. Additional information on ITIN renewals. You must keep it in mind that federal tax returns need not be attached if you are renewing your ITIN, and we also recommend that you file your federal tax return only after you get your renewed ITIN so that you do not miss on your exemptions. Now, let's know how to fill an ITIN form W7. We have seen that people pay hundreds of dollars even to fill an ITIN application form, whereas we at AOTax give this piece as one of the free value-added services to our beloved clients, because it's just a form filling and you're filling your own details. There is no knowledge addition or anything that's gonna happen just because of an ITIN application form filling. So we give this service as free to all our beloved clients. Now let's understand how to fill an ITIN application form W7 line by line. Normally, as I said earlier, whom do we normally apply for ITIN? We apply for the non-working spouse who is not qualified for an SSN, who is filing a married filing joint tax return, or your children or parents or other relatives who are qualified to be claimed as dependents on your tax return. And this is how an ITIN application form looks like. Okay, let's first download the form W7. Here you see the latest form W7 from the IRS. I would have directly gone to the IRS website and downloaded it for you, but because we are more used to Google, I just went into Google. Anyways, this is from the IRS website. And this is how the form W7 looks like. And it reads, application for IRS individual taxpayer identification number for use by individuals who are not US citizens or permanent residents. So it means if you are a US citizen or permanent resident, you will have SSN, Social Security number anyways. Then it says an IRS ITIN is for federal tax purposes only. I just told you a while ago, right? Before you begin, don't submit this form if you have or are eligible to get a US Social Security number. And it also says getting an ITIN does not change your immigration status or your right to work in the United States, and it does not entitle you for certain tax benefits. Now, especially earned income credit. Now, what is the application type? Are you applying for a new ITIN or are you renewing an existing ITIN? We have seen the three situations when you have to renew your ITIN. So if you are renewing an ITIN, just check this box, or if you are applying for a new ITIN, check this box. Now, please make note that you have to fill one W7 form for every ITIN applicant. So if you are applying for 3 ITINs, let's say one for your spouse, one for your kid, one for your parent, then you have to fill 3 W7 forms for each of these ITIN applicants. Now, we are assuming that we are filling a new ITIN. In case you are renewing it, just check renew and then fill it. Now, the most important thing in the W7 form is this. Which box you must be checking here? It is the reason you are submitting form W7. Now, let's see. C is US resident alien based on days present in the United States filing a US federal tax return. Now, let's say your spouse or your kid or your parent or your relative has stayed in US for at least 183 days or 6 months from Jan 1st through December 31st, then he is treated as a US resident alien. I repeat, if your spouse or your kid or your parent or any other qualifying relative has stayed in US for at least 183 days or 6 months from Jan 1st through the December 31st of that particular year, he is qualified to be claimed as a dependent on your tax return, for whom you can apply for ITIN in case he or she does not have a SSN. In that case, please check box C. Then, in case you are a US citizen or a resident alien and because of you they are qualified to be claimed on the tax return, in such case, if you are applying for your spouse, please check E. If you are applying for your kid or parent, please check D. And please enter your name. I mean, if you are the taxpayer, please enter your name, taxpayer name, that is you, not your spouse or your kid name, and then type in your SSN. That's it. And then comes non-resident alien, dependent spouse of non-resident alien. Unless you're on F1, you don't get into these. But just in case you are a non-resident alien filing a US tax return or claiming a tax treaty benefit, then A or B will apply. But if you are somebody on H1 or L1 and you are applying for ITIN for your spouse or dependents, then only C, D or E is applicable. Right? Fine. Now, let's fill in this ITIN application form. First name, let me write my mom's name, Lakshmi, and then Vardharaj. This is her name. And normally for women, the name is different at the time of birth. So name at the time of birth is Lakshmi Murugesh, and name after marriage or the current name is Lakshmi Vardharaj. Okay. Just in case if it is same even now, then you need not fill 1B. Again, because it says name at birth if different. So if it is Aishwarya Rai in 1B, it will be Aishwarya Rai Bachchan in 1A. I'm just giving you an example. Then applicant's address, line number 2, applicant's address. This must be the US address. Give the US address where you want to receive your ITIN, and ITIN comes in a letter format. So give the address where you want to receive your ITIN letter. And one of the value-added services provided by AOTax is also that it provides free managed hosting services. In case you are not in US, you can always give your friend or relative's address, but in case you don't have any friend or relative, we become your best friend. You can use our office address and we will mail that ITN documents to you. Then the foreign address, this is the address that is there on the passport, normally Indian address, or that's your foreign address, example India, okay, as in passport. Then write your date of birth, month, day, year. Then country of birth, city and state where she was born. Then male or female, countries of citizenship, foreign tax ID number, this is the PAN number if you want to give her PAN number. Then there's the type of US visa. Let's say I'm on H1 and I'm getting my mother on H4. So I write H4 and then the number and then the expiry date. Okay. Visa number is normally in the red color. And then identification document submitted. 99% we all submit passport. Just in case you don't have the passport, you can attach driver's license or USCIS documentation as I told you for this ITIN applicant. Then issued by India. Then write the passport number because we selected passport. Please write passport number. Then expiration date. When does the passport expire? And the date of entry into the United States. Or when did she enter into the United States? So probably if she came in April 1st, 2017. Then have you previously received an ITIN or IRS ITIN? If it is new, no. If you are renewing it, yes. I repeat, if it's a new application, check no. If it is a renewal ITIN application, check yes. Now in our case, I am checking no. And enter ITIN, the old ITIN, and 6G, name of college, university or company. This for students, it's not applicable here. And then the signature. Here Lakshmi has to sign, the applicant has to sign. Now in case the applicant is a minor, if he is somebody below 18 years, any one parent can sign. So in case if you are applying for your kid, you or your spouse can sign the ITIN application form. It is not mandatory that one of you must be working. Only the working spouse must be signing the ITIN application. There is no rule like that. Anybody is free to sign. And then the date you are submitting the ITIN application form. Once you sign, please sign and date. So let's say you are filling this on February 1st, 2018. So please write Feb 1st, 2018. Write the phone number where the person can be reached. So, or you can give your phone number also. Then delegates relationship. In case you are signing for your kid, so you're instead of kid, you will be signing here, and then here it will be the parent name who is signing on behalf, and then you check parent. Now in this case, let's say Lakshmi's case, Lakshmi is a major, so Lakshmi herself will sign and there is no need for delegate, and we don't check any box here. And then here you will have acceptance agent's signature. In case you are getting a certificate of accuracy, the certifying acceptance signature, certifying acceptance agent's name or acceptance agent's name will come here. At AOTax you have acceptance agents who can issue you certificate of accuracy also in case ITIN applicants are in India, and that is subject to evaluation and the number of COAs that we can issue. And here the firm details, phone number, fax number, name of the company, our company, our EIN, our Itin, and that's it. This is how an ITIN form gets filled, and you got to select either C, D, or E. In Lakshmi's case, let me select C, assuming that she has stayed in US for at least 183 days. Go through this. See, it's simple form, just 6 lines. You got to fill this, and people end up spending hundreds of dollars on this one single form. That's it. For those who are claiming child as a dependent on your tax return, I request you to make sure that you have your new ITIN or renewed ITIN before the due date, that is April 15th or October 15th, in case you applied for an extension. What to do once you receive your ITIN? What happens? What next? So once you receive your ITIN, you must notify your tax preparer that you have received an ITIN. That's step 1. Then step 2, you should file your state income tax return, because you may have to pay taxes, or you may have to get a refund, or at least you have a filing requirement. You have to file a state income tax return even if you are in a no due or no refund situation. And you need not file your state income tax return if you reside in any of the 9 tax-free states like Florida, Alaska, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, New Hampshire, Nevada, Wyoming, and Washington. And please remember that ITIN is just for tax return purposes, and it does not serve any other purpose. And by law, an individual cannot have both an ITIN and SSN. In case you get your SSN, you must stop using your ITIN. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you found this video useful, please do share it with your friends and colleagues, and please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook so that you stay updated with the tax updates. And this is one of the free value-added services that we provide to our clients, and we provide 10 free value-added services worth $1,000. And if you found that our services are useful, you can recommend our services to your HR also, so that they get discounted pricing, and they get to avail these free services even if they choose not to file their tax return with us. And we call this as employee tax program. In case you have any further questions on this, please feel free to write to me. I'm nandakumarkv@aotax.com. Thank you very much for watching this video.